rude to anyone, but I do have a really bad RBF. And if you don't know me and I don't know you and you see me in the hallways, you probably think I want to kill you. And that's just genuine honesty. I have a lot of things going for me, and I feel like that's very easy to look at and just kind of develop this like sour taste in your mouth. But that's also because I'm very good at hiding all the bad stuff that goes on in my life. I feel like my life isn't this super perfect, put together, have everything I want type of lifestyle. It's really not. But I am very good at putting on that persona, and not that I'm
only party that we will ever be invited to in our entire lives. So at this point, I start planning to sneak out of my house. So my parents usually go to sleep at around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and they usually wake up at 5:30 in the morning. But since this party was on a Friday, obviously my parents aren't going to wake up at that time. They'll usually wake up around like maybe 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. So this gave me a perfect amount of time to do what I needed to do, come back, and not get caught. But just in case, I made sure to turn off any alarms on their phone. But I also had to make sure that I had a foolproof plan to get out of the house and get back in. Now, of course, I couldn't go through.
They trying to be. They trying to be. She wanted me.
Baby soon. Like, I'm just like, I literally just got out of a relationship. Like, I am not looking for that yet. Like that is just too much for me to talk about right now. Like, I just can't. And he was like, oh, like, that's fine. Like, you know, I'll wait for you, like, as long as I can. Like, I'll wait for you, like, as long as you want. And I was like, okay. And then a couple of days go by, and we're still texting, because, like,
stepdad got involved in it. My parents sat me down and said that I should never answer the door if it's, like, 9 past, if it's, like, dark outside. And then they called the police department and said that they should talk to him because that is not okay. And then they sat me down and said that I shouldn't do that because that man might have been like a kidnapper and could have kidnapped me and just like disguised as a police officer. So then they called the police department and they were like, if there's not a parent, then you shouldn't be just talking.
Kitana wins. Flawless victory.
Clear that I can't take responsibility if you drop out. If you drop out, then that's on you. So I said to her, I can't give you the Airbnb money back, but I can give you the money for the travel back. So I can pay your £20 back, but the 50 quid, I can't give that to you. And she started guilt tripping me, saying that she needs to send money back home and that like her family are really struggling. I was just in a position where I couldn't do anything. I can't afford for people dropping out. I said, well, if you drop out and then someone else drops out, then I'm going to be paying so much money, and that's really, really unfair on me.
Until my friend Kirsten asked to see my new puppy, because Kirsten had just got home from college and she had only ever seen the dog over FaceTime. So we're searching all over the house and we cannot find my fucking dog. Well, when my parents got home that night, they pretty much grounded me for life. But then I want to say a month later, my friend Jake, who was there that night, called me freaking the fuck out. Like for part 3. Part 3 about how my $12,000 dog got stolen at my house party. So like I said, we couldn't find Mimi. My parents pretty much grounded me for life.
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump.
Showing her the photos and the videos, and at this point she's like, what the fuck? So surprisingly, without choking this man to death, she goes upstairs, she goes to sleep, and then the next morning she goes and has a talk with my mom. So my mom, my sister, my friend, and I, we all sat down at the buffet in the morning and had breakfast. And my dad and Ben weren't there. Well, long story short, my mom ended up saying, it's not fair that you bring all these young guys around me, da-da-da-da-da. Are you really gonna break up our family because of this? And till this day, my dad still does not know about it. Story time about how somebody stole my $12,000 dog at a house party. When I say my phone, I mean my whole motherfucking phone. A bitch was going through my Snapchats, DMs, text messages, and I didn't know how to confront her because that's just weird. So the one day I was getting ready at her house because we were about to go out, and she was like, I'm grounded, can I use your phone real quick? And I was like, yeah, just let me Snapchat this last person back. And she goes, no, and rips the phone out of my hand. And she starts going through my Snapchat right in front of me. And I had a streak with this kid named Nick. She goes up to me and says, what the fuck?
You know I'm the face of the city, bitch. That's why you mad.
Sleep, so I got up and got some melatonin. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how my aunt kidnapped my dog. So like I said, my dad was like, go to sleep, and I went to try to go to sleep, but I couldn't because my dog was freaking missing. So I go downstairs to get some melatonin when I hear my dad talking shit on the phone to my aunt. He was talking about something with the dog, but my dumbass starts walking across the floor, and all of a sudden the floor creaks, so I run upstairs, get back into bed, and go to sleep. So the next day after school, I tell my dad I'm going to go to my aunt. Tell him about how my best friend started seeing my mom. So we're going to call my best friend Joey. Joey and I had been best friends since we were 4 years old, and my family was really close with his and vice versa. And she had always been really nice to him, of course, because he was a family friend and he was my best friend. Well, one day I thought that she liked him a little bit more than she liked me. She would always ask the weirdest questions. Like, oh, is Joey single? Or what's Joey's?
Give me peso, extendo. I carry bitches like I'm Greco.
And we got into separate coupes. I was in the same coupe as a lot of the guys and the same girl who walked next to me in the beginning. And her minions sat in the other coupe, so we couldn't go to each other. Train took about 15 minutes and the girl who walked next to me in the beginning was on a rant. Let's call her Sabrina. She said, if this Lisa is gonna hit me, I'm gonna hit her back. So the guys were like, oh, there's gonna be a fight. And they were totally hyping her up. Like, yes, Sabrina, you should
But in this moment, everything was like, I'm just hyper aware. So they've walked away and like the area I live in, there's like a gate to get out. So they've gotten across like the garden that's in front of my house far enough that I can open the door to check you and you can't get back to me straight away. When they've gotten that far, I've opened the door. The two of them have turned around and I've screamed across the garden. I've seen those scams online. I'm not who you think I am. Don't F with me. And they were just looking at me. I said, I'm not who you think I am. Don't try me. And they left.
Know what she was thinking, I know what I want to see. Bust that pussy open, then I tell her bring it back.
In his shoes. So I put all the stuff in storage and I just decided to move back to my mom's house. And yes, this was in a span of a few days. So the whole time that he was gone, I was acting like everything was okay. On the last day of the trip, I sent him a text saying that I knew about everything. And I said I never wanted to hear from him again and I never wanted him to see the kids again. And he took that quite literally. I never got a text back. Well, 4 months after all this happened, I soon find out that he got a new house in North Carolina with his new wife and they have a daughter on the way. Story time about how my best friend set me up to get cheated on. So a little background information.
And so Simone was kissing on my boyfriend. First of all, baby, I didn't even kiss him. I never put my hand, that boy never put a hand on me. I never put a hand on that boy. So where did you get kissed at from? Because that never happened. So let me get into like what happened yesterday. So I was minding my business and every little so often.
Make that pistol pop.
Night. And these girls literally hated it whenever I would hang out with the boys or talk to the boys. Come to find out that every single one of the girls had a crush on every single one of the guys that were in my friend group. Also, I'm a very friendly person and will talk to anybody, and they got pissed off whenever I was talking to anybody who wasn't them. So a little bit into the party, I start getting a lot of dirty looks from a lot of different girls that I've never even talked to. And this girl walks up to me and she's like, why have you been Snapchatting my boyfriend? And I'm like, girl, what are you talking about?
Oh my god, that's so awful. This is just a day of mourning. I'm now fully depressed because... Anyway. Basically, my boyfriend went on a family vacation with us to Alaska, and Erica and him got along really well. And I was really glad to see, like, my family bond really well with my boyfriend because, like, my family's not very welcoming, or they're hard to, like, get really close with at first.
Okay, so I feel like a bunch of my followers are definitely more middle school, and that's when everybody tends to have their first kiss. So let my experience be a prime example of what not to do. Okay, me and this guy, we're gonna call him Hayden. We're talking towards the end of 8th grade. And honestly, me and him were like really complicated. Like I couldn't tell if we were talking or not, but it felt like we were. Anyways, not the point. I had never kissed anybody before, and so like,
get ready with me while I tell you why me and my old best friends aren't best friends anymore. So, to start you off, we've been friends for almost a year. A weird thing I noticed, like, beginning in our friendship is that she went for a lot of guys that had girlfriends, and especially her friends, and I did not like that. And also, a lot of the time she tried getting with those guys, she had a boyfriend, so she was cheating on her boyfriend with guys who had girlfriends.
With bubble gum, so I had to chew it. Taste me how to duck, taste me how to duck.
Like, we got to know each other really, really well. So yeah, I wanted her there. I invited her, and she was umming and ahhing for a bit because she wasn't sure if she had something else planned. But then she was like, no, it's fine, I got it sorted. So she sent me the money, I booked the accommodation, like £50 for the Airbnb for the whole weekend, and then like an extra 20 quid for travel. So literally the day after I booked it, she said to me, I can't come anymore. And obviously I was very disappointed by that.
He literally just started, he like grabbed my shoulders, was like shaking me, and he screamed in my face. He's like, I'm not fucking creepy. You had a terrible life. I just wanted to show you what it's like to be loved, because I know you were never loved. I watched your TikToks for weeks. I learned all about you so you would learn to love me for like knowing all this stuff and treating you the way you deserve. And I'm just thinking, how is this treating me?
They're trying to be. She wanted me.
It sends chills down my spine. And then after I laughed, this man's whole demeanor like flipped. He was just went from like a soft like gaze to like a creepy fucking weirdo like gaze. He was like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, I don't know. And then he just started talking about like, oh, like, you're gonna move in here with me, like.
Brittany hated it whenever Mia and I would have our own conversation, and I sat in Becky's spot in gym class, and then she got mad at us because I wanted to finish my conversation with Mia. So she goes over with her other friends that literally bully Mia and I. So at the end of gym class, she walks up to both of us with Brooklyn, and she literally is just standing there. And then Brooklyn goes, do you need me to do it for you? Me and I look at each other like, what the fuck is going on? And then Brittany's like, no, I just wanted to tell you guys that I don't want to go to this theater that was 45 minutes away because nobody that I knew would be there. The only person that knew that I was dating a white boy was my sister. Well, the one day after the movies, I couldn't get a ride home, so I had to get a ride home with him and his family. And as soon as I pulled up, my parents were waiting outside, like for part 2. Part 2 about how my parents found out that I was dating a white boy. So like I said, my sister couldn't come pick me up, so I had to get a ride with him and his family. And what do you know, as soon as we pull up to my fucking house, my dad is standing on the porch waiting for me. So I told his parents to drive around the block.
In the back of my mind, telling me that he no longer respected me. Fast forward a few months, his parents came over to my house to have dinner with us, and the two of us were at a party. And my mum brought up that day and was like, oh, so what was this second game that he had to play? And then his dad goes, oh, there was no second game. Everyone wanted to have drinks at the pub after. And when my mum told me that, I was so upset. Because not only did this boy, again, ditch me at work, but he lied to me.
My boyfriend, at his house. I never confronted him about it. I was just one of those girls that cared way too much about what everybody else thought. Okay, now fast forward. And it was a Friday at school, and Thanksgiving break was the following day. And him and I have this whole plan to spend the whole break together, because literally a week before that, he was on vacation in North Carolina for 2 whole weeks. Well, instead of going with him after school, I decided to go home, get an overnight bag like for part 2. Part 2 about my shitty ex-boyfriend. So like I said, the original plan
had the energy for this. So I would like snap him back, respond to his text, whatever. I'm coming home for the weekend a couple weeks after that, because I'm in college, right? I'm coming home for the weekend. He's like, will you please come to my hockey game? I'm like, no, I will not be doing that because I'm not your girlfriend. And he was like, please, like, it would mean so much to me. Like, my mom will be there. Like, I want you to, and I was like, fucking fine. Because I was friends with his friends. Like, I had hung out with them while we were dating, and we got along fine. And I knew they'd be at the game, so it's like, all right.
You was at a dang Ed Sheeran concert. How you gonna be a bully and be at an Ed Sheeran concert? And no hate to the Ed Sheeran fans, but like, you can't be no bully and listen to Ed Sheeran. But yeah, I can see why you an Ed Sheeran fan, cause you know, all them love songs he got you the Lulu with no Salulu. I'm gonna let this sit on my face for a little bit. But yeah, after that, then I tried to set you up. It failed, sadly, because your parents was outside. But if they wasn't, you would have saw me. Trust them.
But I really wasn't trying to get back together. I just wanted stability. It didn't work out, so now I'm 2 years later from me trying to work it out after that 1.5 years of not, Now, I have a whole different relationship, 2 years now. I have a house, my daughter's well taken care of. My daughter's dad watches my daughter 2 days out the week. And don't ask me if he's financially stable to help us, because
A few of them would require me to go on trips. Well, the one that I went on was an all-girls trip, and before I left, I texted Carson letting him know that I wouldn't have my phone all week. Well, on the last night of my trip, there was a girls and boys dance. There was like a group of boys from a different school that we were meeting up with, and I tried staying back at the cabin, but they wouldn't let me. So we started doing dances that required partners, so I was pretty much forced to dance with one of the boys. Well, when I came back home, I got 100 texts from Carson, calling me a bunch of nouns with them, and they tried to talk me into doing stuff. So then my mom called their parents. Well, then their mom started to drop them off and pick them up every day because they were grounded. Well, then their mom started to apologize to my mom because their kids were such bad influences on me. And then when everybody asked why we stopped being friends, I told them that they made fun of my grandma who isn't alive, and 4 years later, everybody still hates them. Story time about how I almost got kidnapped by my online boyfriend. So a little background information, I was 16 and in 11th grade.